Welcome to TYP Spiritual Compass, a podcast created with one clear mission to equip young people for their future, not just academically or professionally, but spiritually, emotionally, and purposefully. In a world that constantly pressures youth to chase success, validation, and identity from external sources, many are quietly asking the same questions. Who am I? Why am I here? What am I supposed to do with my life? This podcast exists to speak to those questions through faith, wisdom, and lived experience. I've learned in my own walk with God that purpose isn't something we stumble upon by accident. It's something we grow into through obedience, discipline, reflection, and trust in God's timing. Through triumphs, setbacks, uncertainty, and moments of divine intervention, my calling has become clear: to help equip the next generation to walk boldly in the purpose God already placed inside of them. This is a space for honest conversations, biblical truth, real-life testimonies, and practical guidance. Because purpose unfolds over time, and God is faithful to guide those who seek Him. Hey everyone, TYP Spiritual Compass here with you all. Today we're talking about something that most people underestimate: the power of your words. Your words don't just describe you, they shape your mind, influence your behavior, and plant seeds for your future. In this episode, we'll explore how the way you speak reveals your internal world, how your words literally shape brain patterns according to scientific research, and what the Bible teaches about the power of the tongue. We'll also look at powerful biblical example of how someone's words planted the seed for their own destruction. If you've ever said things like, "I'm stupid, I'll never succeed," or "my life is a mess," this episode will show you why those words matter more than you think. Let me start with a phrase many of you have probably heard before: anything you say can and will be used against you. We usually hear that on TV during an arrest scene, but the truth is that statement applies to life. Your words can and will be used against you. Not by a police officer, but by your mind, by your habits, by your future. Because every time you speak, you're not just talking, you're programming your brain. And today we're going to talk about how powerful that really is. Have you ever met someone who constantly says things like, "I'm bad at everything, my life sucks, I'll never get anywhere"? Listen carefully to people long enough and you can hear their belief system. Jesus actually said something powerful about this in Luke 6, verse 45. It says, "Out of the abundance of the heart, the mouth speaks." In other words, your mouth is a window into your heart and mind. If someone constantly speaks negatively, it reveals what's happening on the inside. And here's the dangerous part: if you say something long enough, you start believing it. I once worked with a student who was incredibly smart. But every time something went wrong, he would say, "I'm dumb. I'm just not good at school. I always mess things up." At first, it sounded like he was using it in like a joking way. But over time, you could see how those words became his identity. It reached a point that he had stopped trying, he avoided challenges, and then he began to convince himself that failure was normal. So once you start normalizing failure, that's a sure sign that your brain is actually starting to be rewired by this underlying belief system based on what you say. So nothing about his intelligence had changed, but his words rewired his mindset. And this isn't just motivational talk. Science actually explains why this happens. So, neuroscience has shown that language influences brain wiring. Researchers that study neuroplasticity, they found that repeated thoughts in language strengthen neural pathways in the brain. In simple terms, the more you say something, the stronger that belief becomes in your brain. Psychologists call this self directed neuroplasticity. When someone repeatedly says things like, I'm not good enough, I'm always anxious, I can't do this, those statements activate stress networks in the brain. Over time, those patterns become automatic thinking habits. Your brain starts expecting failure. Your words become instruction to your nervous system. But the opposite is also true. Positive, intentional language strengthens neural circuits associated with confidence, resilience, motivation. Your brain listens to what you say about yourself. So, in many ways, guys, our words are self sabotaging, if I could put it simply. Thousands of years before neuroscience existed, the Bible already warned about the power of words. So if we turn to Proverbs 18, verse 21, it says, Death and life are in the power of the tongue. Think about that. Life or death, like that, those are two extremes, right? In your words. Not swords, not money, not power, words. The Bible also says in James 3 that the tongue is like a small spark that can start a huge fire. Something that seems so small, right? But capable of massive destruction. We see this play out in real life every day. One insult can literally destroy years of a friendship. One rumor can ruin somebody's entire reputation. And one careless statement can damage someone's confidence for years. So, words are powerful. Let's talk about a powerful biblical example. In the book of Numbers, 12 spies were sent to explore the promised land. 10 of them came back speaking fear. They said things like, we can't do it, the enemy is too strong, we look like grasshoppers compared to them. Those words spread fear through the entire nation. Because of their negative report, the entire country, the entire people lost faith and they refused to move forward in battle despite God telling them that He had already made them victorious over the battle. And what was the result? That entire generation never entered the promised land. Like, that's wild. Like, words can set an entire society to failure. And their words essentially planted a seed for their own destruction. So here's an example of that self sabotage that I was talking about earlier. Two men, Joshua and Caleb, they changed the entire trajectory of this people because they spoke differently. they said, "We can take the land." Their words were bigger than just mere words. They were rooted in faith. They were rooted in an underlying, deep rooted belief system. And they were the only ones who entered the promise. Same situation, different words, different outcomes. So let me challenge you with something simple. For the next 7 days, pay attention to how you speak about yourself. Notice phrases like, "I'm bad at this," "I'll never get it," "My life is a mess." Then replace them. Instead, say, "I'm learning. I'm getting stronger. I'm improving." You're not lying to yourself. You're training your brain and aligning your words with truth. Your words are not small. They shape your thinking. They influence your confidence. They plant seeds for your future. So be careful what you say about yourself because your mind is listening. Your future is listening. And your words can either build your life or slowly tear it down. Choose them wisely. If this episode helped you, share it with a friend who needs encouragement. And remember, speak life. Your future is listening. TYP Spiritual Compass, here with you all, over and out. As we close, remember, this journey isn't about perfection, it's about progression. Purpose unfolds step by step as we walk with God daily, even when the path feels unclear. If this episode spoke to you, I invite you to sit with it this week, pray on it, journal through it, and ask God where He's leading you next. Be sure to subscribe, share this episode with someone who needs encouragement, and join me again as we continue learning how to live with faith, wisdom, and purpose. Your life is not random, and God is intentional about revealing His purpose in His perfect time. Don't forget to subscribe to my YouTube channel, TYP Spiritual Compass. I'm also on Instagram and TikTok. I'm looking forward to seeing you all on all of my social media platforms. TYP Spiritual Compass, over and out.